The marquee game of the divisional weekend was the Ravens and the Bills, the battle of the two the AM MVP candidates. Lamar, Josh Allen. Who was going to win? Well, it was Josh Allen, but the real question is, did the Ravens beat themselves in this one, or did the Bills... Or are we not giving the Bills enough credit? So, Peter, as probably the biggest fan of Lamar on this platform, I pass it to you. Do you think the Ravens completely pooped the bed in terms of like a team that run more, like rush for more, pass for more?
Yeah,
It's still lost.
I'll say they kind of did in terms of like the turnovers. Like the INT wasn't that was on Lamar. He held his hands up that was on him, especially when he went back to the side immediately. Let them know that was an overthrow by him for the first INT. The fumble as well. But what makes it so painful is the fact that Lamar did everything he possibly could to win the game, and it still wasn't meant to be. And I think the Bills played very complementary offense that fits them. One thing that Josh Allen did, which was very good for the Bills, is being explosive and performing at the clutch moments that the game called for. So those moments that required the Bills to go on a drive, score some points, he was able to put them together. And I think this season, one of the things that have helped the Bills thrive this season is because they don't have that one guy. They sort of like leaned onto having this system, and the system is basically Josh Allen. And he's grew into that. And he's had all these playmakers around him that are complementary. They are not the playmaker. I think if the Bills manage to go all the way, Allen might have a case as being one of the few QBs that put a team on their back all the way to win the Super Bowl. Because when you look at that roster, there's not really a marquee player on there that you would say these are the key players for the Bills, especially on offense. It's all about Josh and how far Josh can take them, and he's really taking them to new heights despite not having his wide receiver one taken away. Yes, James Cook has been a very good running back to him, but James Cook is not a top
He wasn't
5 running
massively
back
in this game. He wasn't massively efficient, right? Well,
Exactly,
generally
but he
about
was
4 yards
efficient
a rush. So
in a key downs.
yeah, it was efficient
But
when
to
it
me, at the end
mattered.
of the
But
day, yeah, at the end of the day, for me, I can't forgive Mark Andrews. I'm sorry, but you've got to catch it, no matter how the ball is thrown.
although
In that
what I will
critical
say on that,
moment,
although what I will
catch it.
say, even if he catches it, they don't even necessarily stay in the game. Scores level with 1 minute 40
No,
left on the clock.
yes, I get that, but it's a chance. You
It's a
never know
chance,
what
right?
happens after.
Right. So
Yeah,
it's not that
it's just for that chance.
it's just to give them that opportunity, because it's not like
Mm.
you give one of the best quarterbacks in the league that much time, especially with the way Josh Allen's playing this season. When it comes to crunch, he's generally going to take you down the field, right? So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
it's a tough one to swallow for Baltimore,
It's a
because
tough one. And then when I look at it, I think one thing that has on Baltimore's defense, the Ravens have a pretty good defense, but um I think they're missing a key element on the defense, and the players normally show that key element, and that is that elite pass rusher. I don't think they have that on their roster at the moment. The reason why I say that,
BK is
when I
probably
say
the best pass rusher.
yeah, but he's more interior guys can. When I say that, but I wouldn't put him like for example when you compare to their last Super Bowl with Ray Lewis, right? The key pass rusher on that team was T Sizzle. You know, when it's a critical down, T Sizzle is gonna get the quarterback. No matter who's blocking him, he's gonna find a way. They don't have that right now on the defensive side of the football. You know, as in like this is the key guy. I think the Ravens are now more of an offensive unit in this era compared to the defensive unit that they had with Lewis and Sizzle and Reed. So So they gotta find that key guy on offense. In addition, apart from Henry and Lamar,
and they've
I
got
think
to
they need
not cough
that.
up the ball.
Yeah.
that's true. That's
Fumbles.
true. Ball
Because
security, yeah.
when you look at the number of points that came off those fumbles, that's the thing, right? That was the difference in this game. And whilst we say that Lamar once Lamar made those 2 mistakes, he did everything within his power to be able to get them back.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah,
about
when
making those
you-
mistakes in the first place.
If you turn over the ball, especially against a team this deep in the playoffs, you're giving them a free possession to get points on the board. Like they're at least going to get a field goal, if not outright score. The teams are too good at this point offensively. All of the teams are too good at this point. So that fumble was really crippling. It was nearly a scoop and score from Von Miller as well. So it could have really, it did the damage. With Mark Andrews, you'd like to see him catch that ball, but just the way things were going, I think they really missed Zay Flowers out there. I think if obviously he was healthy and he was a part of that offense, we would have seen things differently. I really agree with what Pete said, and that they're lacking that difference maker. I think as a defensive front unit, they play well, but they're missing that guy that you can just count on. Either they need to take a dip in free agency, or they need to draft the next guy. I think 100% heading into this year's draft, edge rusher is top of their board. Like they need a guy that either at the linebacker position, that's a pure edge rusher, or someone out wide. But that's a gap they need to fill. Because if you can get someone that can disrupt the opposing team just enough, that could be the difference between the Bills not being able to score an extra point, and that's a victory for you. If you get a sack, get them off the field, it's going to make a difference. But yeah, so I think 3 things contributed to this. Obviously, the fumble from Lamar, the INT. Yep, you don't want to see that. Zay Flowers not being a part of the lineup, I think that's crippling, because he's their number 1 threat on the outside, and I think he forces defenses to play you more honestly. And obviously, Josh Allen being Josh Allen, so this could be the year they do it. This could be the year they do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because and in addition, like if you do just a quick comparison, like for example, the Chiefs are the defending Super Bowl champs. They won 2 back-to-back. When you look at the Chiefs, right? Yes, they have the offensive firepower. Mahomes, he has Travis Kelce, the go-to guy, complementary receivers around him, but that is also reflected on the defensive front where they have Chris Jones.
Chris Jones.
The last couple of Super Bowls, Chris Jones in the playoffs makes critical plays at critical downs when they've got to have it. When they've got to have a pressure, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a sack. Sometimes it's just pressure, just pressurizing the quarterback to make a rash decision to move him off his spot. Is basically that's what it comes down to.
Yeah,
and it will be great this offseason. And I'm saying this because I know it's not going to happen because they're division rivals, but Myles Garrett will look amazing on the Ravens, boy.
That's what I was thinking. That's
but
what I was thinking.
there's absolutely, but there's no chance.
There's no chance they'll let him out. But Myles Garrett's at that point in his career where I think in Cleveland, he kind of doesn't owe them anything at this point. He's stuck around for the bad and the good. He's given them a shot. Right now, I think for him, there's no reason for him to really stay. I mean, they can give him a huge wad of cash, but he's going to get that from any team, considering who he is. Model
Another
player,
guy that might
go
to Ravens this offseason, the trade
with
Max Crosby.
Yeah,
I could see Max Crosby being the guy that they go after because he's with the Raiders, and
they're not
they
going
will trade him to Baltimore.
Because they're not winning. So I always look at the teams like if you're not winning, even though you have your top edge rusher, you're not winning games, then there's no real reason to keep him there. And I know the fans want to see him stay, but that's if you've got a rebuild in place and you're one QB away, and the rest of the teams, everyone's in place. They don't have anyone outside of Max Crosby. So, Bauer's over there. I mean, he is the future, but All I'm saying is if Max Crosby might stay there for one more year, if they get a QB, they might have a Jaden Daniels situation and he stays. But if they play next year and it's not looking good, I can see him going over to the Ravens. He suits their attitude as well. I think he'll fit really good in that locker room.
So it's going to be really interesting to obviously now the Ravens have their kind of end of season debrief and they're looking towards next year, and the Bills move on to the AFC Championship game. So we will talk about them very soon again.